Cornish language, but I'm not actually a Cornish language speaker, so I'm more likely to say, you, all right, Uri. I was born and bred in Cornwall. This is home. And I'm proud of my Cornish roots and heritage. But in my life as an actor, it's rare I get to speak in my Cornish accent or dialect, let alone the Cornish language, or Canuic as we call it. Attending auditions in London, I often feel I have to disguise my accent and dialect. So it's great doing this programme. I can really let rip in Cornish. Come on then, my booties, let's scatter and guess on. 'Cause I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. Of course, the Wurzels are from Somerset, but then we all get squashed into this big old homogenous West Country lump. Like any other group with a strong accent and its own identity, we're often portrayed using stereotypes. The typical yokel, standing by a gate, chewing a straw and saying, "Who are?"
Afternoon. I've never seen you here before, have I? No, you haven't, no. How's that then? You've never been here before.
And the media often covers Cornwall with some sort of generic West Country burr. That's why I'm delighted to get the opportunity to shine a light on the true Cornish dialect through great poetry created in this westernmost peninsula.
This is called Tidden no G in Sandwich. Tidden no B in Chimbley. That's what you'd say. And no N in Sloanes for drinking gin on Christmas Day. And isn't even a G in Sandwich, come what may. And according to E, towins are doons, aren't them? Kibble, a bucket, a cup, a dish or an oil drum. Scow tree is a elder and Digeon just a crumb. Tidden rooted but dirty with grime. And a croom is really but a moment in time. Treluban to stir up the booly, that's slime. Past is to come with salad, if you want to be all fancy, and crane can be poured up like milk, dammy. But Kerno a Kainty, that's one thing I went clunky. We have a slightly different way of pronouncing things. Chimney is Chimbley, and slows are Sloanes. Ugly is bad-tempered. Rare is handsome.
Now hang on here, let's get something straight. Cornish people are not only proud of their place in the world, most are also very keen that their history and status is acknowledged. Many would never call Cornwall a county. Cornwall is either a country or a duchy, and plenty of people continue the campaign for some sort of Cornish devolution or even independence.
My name's Pol Hodges. I'm the Grand Bard of Dorset Kerno, and my bardic name is Mab Stennick Vur. We're a Celtic nation, the same as Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Isle of Man, and our sister country, Brittany. And the Tamar is one of the oldest political borders in the world, in that King Hill of Cornwall and King Athelstan of Wessex made that the border in something like 936. But the border goes back even before then, because King Brecon in Wales sent 24 of his children and they spread right across Cornwall and they took the Tamar as a border as well. You can see that legacy today in the place names. On the Cornish side, we've got Lanson, Landstefan, Cargreen, Carrick Ruin, Penlee, and on the English side, all the names are very late Saxon.
Dr. Lucy Ellis is from the Institute of Cornish Studies at Exeter University. Lucy grew up by the sea near Land's End. She also teaches the Cornish language.
We say, by tree, pole and pen, I'll know all Cornish men. So surnames or place names that begin with pole, tree or pen are quintessentially Cornish because they come from the Cornish language. And anyone living in Cornwall or holidaying in Cornwall will be aware that they are utterly surrounded by the Cornish language in house names and place names. Charles Causley, he writes in this wonderful style. You'll hear this rural diction in there. John Paul Rudden, all of a sudden, went out of his house one night. when a privateer came sailing near under his window light. They saw his jugs, his plates and mugs, his hearth as bright as brass, his gews and gauze, his kicks and shaws, all through their spying glass. Traditional speakers of the dialect will speak with that wonderful rhythm. That's partly what makes it so Cornish. Nations tend to have their own language, and Cornwall has its own language. That is one of the main arguments for it being a nation in its own right.
Well, that's the high politics in these parts. But regardless of your views on that, one thing is clear. Cornwall has a language which is still alive and well, and a dialect which continues to evolve. Simon Parker.
How's it going?
Splan, Simon. Mush on or no?
Yeah, lots of stuff. I'm doing that Penzance project.
Writer and a playwright. Simon and I were at school together down in Penzance in the 70s and 80s, and he was a legend in his punk band, The Vendettas.
I think I'm going to read a bit from A Star on the Mizzen about the 1896 Cornish fishing riots. This is in the voice of William Tonkin, one of the ringleaders. He ended up in court, but it was a very tumultuous time. Wasn't meant to be no riot. I didn't sit down and say to the missus, "Here, what'd he say if me and the boys start a riot?" No, wasn't no zamzoodle whim-wham of I. But 'twas a master idea for all that, mind. See, I aren't a violent man, anyone will tell 'ee. I'm not chicken nother, but no man 'ud accuse I of being violent in nature. He'd feel my fist first if I did. But I ain't no worm. Taking a 50-foot mackerel driver out of Newlyn and janking home on the back of a Force 10 needs a deal of nerve, I can tell 'ee. And the good Lord only provides limited protection if you're unfortunate to be caught out by a northeasterly. So for me to have the fault for all this cud-ridden seemed, well, proper rash. We was all sick of it, see? 200 Yorkie boats from Yarmouth and Lowestoft and all the other little ports up and down the east coast steaming into Cornish waters every spring to harvest the hell out of our fishing grounds. Course we didn't mind sharing with them. We'm givish folk, and we've never begrudged them a share. 'Tis all his creation. The good Lord provides for each and every one of we, and the oceans belong to no one since the floods of Dava. But when they started fishing Sundays and flooding the Monday markets, blowing the prices flat for we, some crews got proper mazed.
Yeah, that was lovely, and actually very poignant, because things aren't so different now, are they? I was trying to listen to that as an outsider, as somebody who wouldn't understand those times. Some of them I didn't.
Janking home. You don't know what janking is, but you know what it means.
Yeah.
You know, janking home. Zamzoodled. It's like a stupid idea. Whim-wham is a scheme. Cut-written is a whole mess of things. Begritched, which is like begrudged, I suppose.
Oh, I'm just writing some of them down, Simon, because I'm going to use them. Bring them into my daily parlance. Geek zamzoozled widwam. Cornwall, of course, has a rich maritime history going back centuries.
Cornwall has always been at the epicentre of transnational networks that have headed out in every direction, trading tin, trading gold, trading fish, trading Celtic saints.
Will Coleman, who is the artistic director behind the creative Cornish company Golden Tree Productions, who were responsible for the much-lauded Man engine.
For a pilchard, preserved pilchard is fumado, which is from the Spanish, meaning smoked. And people always used to say, we'll have a rendezvous, meaning a rendezvous. The apron that kept the bow maiden's clothes clean was always called a tauser, from the French tousser.
There was coming and going.
Bert Biscoe lives in Truro and is a Cornish bard.
You had cultural acquisition. So the Cornish fed stuff into American dialect and vice versa. So where the word pard came from, whether it started in a mine in West Penwith or in Colorado, nobody's quite sure. But it's used in both places. There was a lovely moment when we were having cod wars, and there was an interview on Spotlight Southwest. BBC. They had three people called Jago. One was called Yago from Spain. One was called Mr. Jago from down Newlyn. Another one was called Mr. Jago from up Newfoundland. And they were all representing their fishing industries. There has been a swamping of Americana, if you like, but I think it's worked both ways.
As well as the sea and the industries and culture that come with it, Cornwall has a long tradition of tin mining.
Hard rock Cornish miners. Copper, silver, lead and tin. Can't he feelin' neath your skin? One and all we've always been, hard rock Cornish miners. Cousin Jacks, both great and small, raise your voice, sing one and all. Round this world we'll send our call, health to the Cornish miner. Deep and dark down Carrollton mine, William Craigall's aged just 9. 8 hours work, then 2 hours climb, he's a hard rock Cornish miner. Alfie Crowell, he made his name in Mexico's first football game. He gave our pasties worldwide fame, he's a hard rock Cornish miner. Clung to life when 3 men died, Telfer Mitchell bikes with pride, he've 1 foot dancing, he've 1 foot tied, he's a hard rock Cornish miner. Our Jane Harvey's a foundry maid, White Hart Ales are cast iron trade, deals get done and money gets made, she's a hard rock Cornish miner. London Churchtown from Penzance, Humphrey Davy leads a dance, invented modern safety lamps, he's a hard rock Cornish miner. Copper, silver, lead and tin, can't you feel 'em neath your skin? One and all we've always been, hard rock Cornish miners. Cousin Jacks, both great and small, raise your voice, sing one and all. Round this world we'll send our call, health to the Cornish miner.
Mick Paynter lives in St.Ives and is another Cornish bard due to his proficiency in the Cornish language.
And St. Piran is the patron saint of Cornwall. The legend goes that he smelted the tin from the ore. That's where we get the St. Piran's banner from, you know, which is the black flag with the white cross. So the white is the tin coming out of the ore. He is supposed to have brought us tin, charity, and ale, because he was very fond of it. Mo Perrin. Boy Perrin was a bishop, but he never cared tall. He never feared a single soul, he was scared to beggar all. His delivery wasn't up to par, he was gnawed to take a drop. Yes, Perrin was a godly man, but he didn't have no flock, no skiff, no ship, no boat, no leaf. He sailed on a geat rock, and he brought him to our country, and though he missed the port of hail, he gave we prayer and hope and tin and charity and ale. Gov instead of gave, geet instead of great. Much of it, I think, is in the rhythm of speech.
Cornish dialect differs between east and west, coastal and inland. It can also differ in very close proximity. My stepdad is a Newlyn boy. His father was a Newlyn fisherman. He has a different accent to people his age who are from Penzance. What's that, 2 miles apart maximum? Yeah, it's so finely tuned, isn't it? The accent and the dialect, it changes like the landscape changes.
Great thing they did at the Royal Cornwall Show one year. Which word do you use for your lunch? You put a coloured sticker where you live on the map, and the whole of east of Cornwall is crib, the whole of mid to west Cornwall is croast, and then just down round Geever and St Just it's mossel. And you get this nice dialect map showing up.
Cornwall has been a favourite tourist destination for years now. You don't always get a true reflection of the dialect if you're just passing through, but it's there among the locals, if you can find them. I spent some time in Redruth. What sort of things would they say?
Directly, mainly.
Directly, yeah. Everybody's got their own version of what directly means, haven't they?
Well, I just think it means later on.
Yeah, but completely unspecified.
Yeah, totally.
Might be in an hour, it might be when I'm dead.
Yeah. It's my youngest one, not the older ones. They kind of say things like "what's on," so I think my generation didn't use it, but it's, you know, those younger ones are.
Oh, I use "what's on," and my youngest boy, who's still in Penzance, says "you."
Yeah.
So they've got their greetings.
And my mum's favourite word was, she would describe someone. I don't know if you come across this, Stacey, is she would say, "Oh, she's a bit cakey."
Does that mean a lot of makeup?
Cakey means a bit soft. You know, like not much going there. But one word Dad always used to do on the farm was, sheepdogs weren't very good, so it was 3 girls that brought the sheep in, and he would say, "Go lerrip up round those fields." And I think lerrip is a fantastic, it just describes, it is bloody run up there, stride up there, you know.
My lover, yeah. Will you come in and go, "Right, my lover"? I'm 100% Cornish mate. Because I'm born in Cornwall. You're Cornish through and through.
I wanted to know a bit more about how dialect has shaped the identity of one of our poets. I met up with Keast, from Bodmin.
I'm a bard of the Gorsa for services to Cornwall. My bardic name is Mir Canahan Gorvick, which means daughter of traditional song. I was brought up in Weybridge. I remember mother getting pasties out the Rayburn, and if the bottom was a bit puddingy, it wasn't cooked properly, she would say it's a bit samsozzled. And the other one, mother used to call the drain pipes launders.
Because I'm from down west, I'm from Penzance, but I've moved up to Falmouth, I'm finding that the things that are different are greetings. What's your particular greetings?
I would say, are you all right, my lover? That's to somebody you know quite well. You're always somebody's maid, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Reenie Emwood's maid. The same with a boy. Oh, that's his boy.
Do you have Cheel up there?
Cheel, yeah. We would say, is it a boy or a Cheel?
Yeah.
Because Cheel would be a girl.
But then Cheel is also all the kids, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So boys don't count. One of my boys is still down in Penzance, and I had to check that they still go you, or you boy. Well, in Falmouth, it's all right, Shag.
Oh, we don't do that. Down west, they'll say, are you all right, my bird? Or are you all right, my cock?
My stepdad's a Newlyn boy. He says to me, right cock, or right cock Robin. Penzance and St.Ives, a big rivalry, I suppose because of the fishing. But I was at grammar school in Penzance, and it was thought there was still a little bit of a stigma about my best friend was from St.Ives because you just didn't mix. But one of us is hake and the other is scalybacks.
Oh.
The industry that we've got left, tourism, the only dialect we've got around that is Emmet, isn't it?
It means an ant. And I suppose, there are swarms of ants. That's where it came from, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess
I don't
so.
like using it. But yeah,
well, it depends on the context, doesn't it? Sometimes it can be, bloody Emmets are everywhere. It's like not, get out on my land.
Yeah.
It's just like, God, it's that time again. And let's be affectionate.
So this is from a book called Roach Rhymes by Ken Phillips. And he was a linguist from Roach in the Clay Country and has a very specific way of speaking. A sense of direction. We Roachers do go in St. Column and in St. Austell too. We may even go down Bugle when there's nothing better to do. We generally go over St. Denis, out Padstow and back Lock and Gate, up Plymouth, up Exeter, up London, though the way be crooked or straight. Upwards he's gone, where times is brisk, was a phrase old folks' speech, but downwards mostly to the sea, down Newquay and down Beach. A city set upon a hill cannot be hid, they say, so people from Withiel and St. Wen go up Roach any day. But if we live near Hensparrow, at Greensplat, say, on the down, we go down Roach to a place of culture and renown. Now all this fine sense of direction will disappear at one scat. We shall all start going to everywhere, and that, I suppose, will be that.
That's got one of my favourite dialect words in it, actually, which is scat, which obviously means something very different in other places. But in Cornwall, it just means knock it over, like scat and down. You might have noticed that everyone in Cornwall seems to be a bard. That's everybody's a bloody bard these days. Are you a bard?
I am. I've been a bard a long time. Got my frock.
I think I'm the only person in Cornwall who isn't a bard. I'm going to make my own costume, so I'll have better cakey tea than you do.
Yeah, you probably would.
So, why so many bards?
The word Cornish bard has a very specific meaning. I am a Cornish bard, as are many of the people active in the language and the dialect. The bard status is another one that you have to be invited into the secret society and get the special handshake for services rendered.
Off the southwesterlymost point of Cornwall are the Isles of Scilly, and that provides us with another variety of dialect. Here's Will Coleman again.
The fact that those islands were inundated by flood within the last 500 years. Drowned landscape. Meagar Selina, Meagar Enor, Meagar Hosevis, Meagar and more. Thus sang the long-dead islander below the billows' roar, whose chamber grave beneath the wave lies sunken far from shore. You are welcome, curious traveller, to ride out on the swell. Do visit Craggy Ellis, the place I used to dwell. Observe these golden boulder rounds submerged beneath the brine, though now they're drowned and seaweed crowned, this home and hearth were mine. I trod that sunken causeway track through fields now claimed by sand, where now you float your glass old boat, I tilled and ploughed dry land. On the brow above Cornweathers I kindled kindly light. Selina's name, a beacon flame, kept shining through the night. In honour of my goddess, at every Easter tide, I ran the Troy town turnings to welcome home my bride. But people need reminding we must respect the sea. We ceased our rites, and one dark night the ocean came for me. Raging past Resveer, Crevawathan, further out, the goddess roared with brandished sword a dreadful waterspout. The sea rolled in vast mountains across the inner plain. My final breath in greeting death was whispering her name. They say my lord Ganilli galloped from the surge. Ashore at Chapelitney they sang the funeral dirge for all the old inhabitants whose lore and language died when the gates of the Atlantic flung open on the tide. If you set out for Lioness, as many souls have done, beyond the Wolf and Seven Stones toward a setting sun, the floating archipelago, remember still her name. Keep in your mind, though seeming kind, Selina is not tame. 9 inches every century she takes her islands back. Here a yard of foreshore, there a crumbling track. Here a courtyard farmhouse, there a chamber grave. Where now lies land and silver sand, she'll render endless wave. I'm just a long dead islander, sleeping neath the sea. But hark my song, before too long, you too shall lie with me. Mia gar Selina, mia gar Enor, mia gar Holzethus, mia gar and more. Selina is the conjectural name of the goddess of the Isles of Scilly. People have mooted different suggestions as to why Scilly is called Scilly. And for me, the most convincing one was that Scilly came from the goddess Selina. So Mia gar Selina, I love Selina, Mia gar Enor. Before the islands were inundated, there was a single large island. What now comprises St Mary's, Bry and Tresco were all joined. And the name of that island was Enor, from the Cornish Anor. It just means the mainland. Then you get Meagar Hulzethus. I love the setting sun. Hulzethus is not just the setting sun, it's also the west. So you're looking westward. Meagar and more. I love the sea.
There is, of course, other, more modern traditions and activities which have developed their own way of speaking. Here's Cornish bard Bert Biscoe.
The first 2 words of this are surfing dialect. What hang 10 means is that you're standing up on this piece of fiberglass, skittering along the wave, and you're clinging on for dear life with all 10 toes like that. Dusk over the borough of Truro Vale, hanging 10 on the upper rung of the lazy ladder of gloom, with a launder full of gull shit and flying rats, and drips of condensation fallen to hide in plain sight amongst the tears of dew, the exhalations of early morning criss-cross flight. The Gatwick galleon at 30,000 feet in New York Kennedy by noon, deals done and shopping, and a Truro sky baked in a bourguignon of cloud. A bucket slung on painter's hook, a trowel from the garden spends, a loustering day clearing turf, 4 runs up and bouncing, and only wagtails to offer encouragement for the ease of soffit anxiety. They say the cherry picker is a health and safety friend, but there's nothing like a ladder, an apprentice footing below, a black-backed tenant, white-winged pterodactyl, dressed in the bridal plumage of a gull, a bucket, a trowel, and a launder. By opening time, running free as Doer Ithi into the estuary by the chime and gavel, the elm upon the oak. O risen magistrate, beneath your sorrowful and silent clock, this lonely cell, The long sun looking back across your town, across the clapper parapet into the morning's eye, rubbed and splashed and gazing east, not tucked in midnight pallet yet, and full of flame, of dying jet, oh full of sunset's exploding feast.
Well, I'm here on the beach at Flushing to meet young poet and rapper Megan Chapman.
I'm a big surfer and I go most mornings before work.
So is there a Cornish surfy dialect type thing?
Yeah, there's certain ways that you communicate when you're talking about the surf. So you'll look at it and you'll say, what's the surf like? And if it's really good, you'll say it's pumping. You'd say it's messy, it's on shore, it looks weak, it's barreling, and that's where the wave completely curls over and you go inside.
So as a Cornish maid, do you use much of your mother tongue?
Yeah, like proper job.
Yeah.
People might come down and order it from the bar in like a London accent, but obviously, you know, proper job as in that's good, nice one, proper job.
Yeah.
What's on? We often say that, what's on? I've got a friend called Jill that I work with, and if I'm around her, I immediately speak more Cornishy.
Do you bring any of that pure Cornishness into your spoken word?
Yeah. I've got a couple of raps, one's called Cornish Bird, and the other one's called Sunset Word Set. They've both got quite a lot of Cornish phrases in them, and it was about, I guess, capturing the dialect, where I live, all of that. Lays the day away, hey, what you say, think a drink, I'm all with a chink, blink we, think we, miss real time, no reason and rhyme, life best be, live cleverly, feeling enhanced and start dancing merrily, loose cannon, impulsive nature, non-stop rapping, fresh out the box, gloves off, a Cornish maid, loves a bit of hip-hop, misbehave local knowledge best.
I'm going to say splan, Cornish for splendid.
Ah, thanks.
So if I give you a bit of dialect that I grew up with, you give me a bit of yours, and we can promise to bring it into daily parlance.
Okay, cool, let's do it. Beauty.
Beauty.
Beauty, like perfect, good, yeah. It's like validation. Beauty, let's go. Like wicked, nice one. Kids still say that, I think.
Yeah. So, what's the future for Cornish dialect? It seems to be alive and well, from what I've found in this programme. Some people bemoan the Americanisms which have seeped in here and elsewhere, but doesn't language and the way we speak it always change? It's for the bards of Cornwall and those inspiring young poets to use the history and heritage combined with the world they see around them today to create new dialect poetry which can speak to us in the 21st century. Cheers and gone now.
Tongue and Talk, the dialect poets visited Cornwall. It was presented by Stacey Guthrie and it was a Made in Manchester production for BBC Radio 4.